ain't sleeping till Hollywood, Hollywood. We ain't sleeping.
Hello, hello, hello. My name is Gaelyn McDonald,
It's your girl, Gaelyn Smith.
and you are listening to No Sleep Till Hollywood, where we're not sleeping until we make it in Hollywood. And while we're up, we will be discussing the state of the industry and our place in it.
And I'm here to tell you, this whole not sleeping thing, it's starting to become less of a podcast title and more of a truth. Okay. It's hard out here for a pimp.
Doing what we need to day by day.
Doing what we need to. And one of the things that has made my days longer is this whole social media thing. Okay. Trying to build brands on social media, find followers, think of content, use that content to leverage you in other spaces, which is something that has become a lot more of a pipeline recently. I feel like the whole web series to TV show or influencer to actor pipeline is really popping off. And so we wanted to talk about it, especially because during the strike, influencers are in a weird place. Right. They are not, unless you're doing a SAG covered contract as an influencer, which they do have, you're not in SAG, you're not an actor, but you can't make content to promote TV and films because that's scabbing, but you're not in SAG. And so we wanted to talk about this conundrum, as it were, that a lot of influencers are in. This past week, we read the Time article, "Influencers are struggling to find their role in the SAG-AFTRA strike and beyond," which explores how some content creators and influencers on social media are pausing their work in order to support the Hollywood strikes, and also those who are not doing that, because at the end of the day, influencers don't make money if they're not selling you something.
Right.
So just where all of that stands for us.
Because I know, because the thing is, to anyone who's not, I don't want to say not critically thinking, but to anyone who doesn't have the full picture in mind, it's you may think, oh, well, it's not that hard to not talk about a movie or a TV show. But then you have to remember there are influencers such as Bobby Miller, whose whole platform revolves around what's new in media, both TV, movies, and that's their whole baseline, and they get paid from it. So it's what are they supposed to do in these times? I know with Bobby Miller, she did say that she does support the strike, because morally she's tied to it,
right?
And so, but she knows that even though it's an ethical choice, there are people whose very livelihood is on the line,
right? And Bobby Miller, just for those if you haven't read the article yet, she is a TikToker who runs her page under the Afternoon Special. It's also the title of her podcast. Has over 400,000 followers at the time of the article, but is a content creator, like Caleb was saying, who does a lot of what's new and now in TV and film, obviously. And I think that's the hard part, is you have people who are influencers who, because they are a big name, they may get the occasional movie, TV deal. And then there are people whose entire social media presence is based on new TV, new film. And I think it's a lot easier when, then again, I did see a tweet a while ago, earlier in the strike, where someone was like, this is why you should never make your entire brand based on the creativity of others. If your whole thing is just reviews,
right,
then you're screwed. Versus even in our case, reviews were always a part of the podcast, but we also always talked about the business. We talked about tropes. We were able to kind of pivot in a way that still fulfilled the goals for us of our podcast, and also reaching the content, reaching the audiences that we wanted to reach. But at the same time, it was a slight pivot versus there are some creators, like I said, creators don't make money unless they're selling you something. So if your whole thing is movies and TV and you're getting checks from Disney and Hulu to promote their newest content all the time, I don't know what to tell you.
Which technically, in that objective sense, for some people, this could change absolutely nothing whatsoever, because you're not technically bound to this union that you're not even a part of.
Yeah.
But again, like there is the huge ethical part of it as well, because all right, these people are protesting for a better system. Who am I to scab and give money to the very people that we are trying to
Right.
take away from?
I think that's also the hard part because going back to what we said, they're not in SAG. Like at the end of the day, all of the things in this SAG contract don't necessarily benefit influencers. There
Right.
is no influencer union. Now, some influencers are in SAG because they are also actors and you know have done things like that, but there is
Mhm.
no like influencers union. And so
Right.
there is that point of like class solidarity, but also like these things aren't necessarily helping you. Like I see why people are quote unquote in a pickle. One of the things that stood out to me in this article, I know we just talked about Bobby Miller, but the other thing that I think was like interesting. So there's this man named Juju Green.
Ugh.
He goes by Straw Hat Goofy. I saw all this before the article. Like I watched this all play out in real time on my TikTok. And basically he made this dumbass skit where he basically was being a creator, talking about doing brand deals during the strike, and basically was like, "I'm going to continue to do what I want because
Mhm.
they have nothing to do with me, and I got to make my money." Like basically, like being a very like selfish influencer. He did not make it clear that it was a skit,
Mhm.
so everybody jumped on his throat, thinking that like he, as an influencer, was saying he didn't care, and then like he doubled down and then eventually it came out that it was a skit, which is why like to me I just don't believe it was a skit.
Was it a skit?
Mans was trying to save his name, and
Right.
but it was like the most infuriating thing on the planet because he was spreading so much misinformation. There was such an entitlement and a privilege, and then like there were a lot of writers, particularly Francesca Ramsey, who was a black woman and a TV
Love
writer.
her.
Love her. If you guys follow me on TikTok, I quote her a lot on my TikTok, especially in my strike content. But she tried to explain to him. I know there were a couple other like black women writers who tried to get in the mix and explain, and like
Mhm.
he just shut them down. And like it always makes me laugh when someone who's not in your industry tries to tell you about your industry.
Yeah.
Like it's like when you're talking to like your family and they're like, "Have you called Tyler Perry?" What does that have to do for me, ma'am?
They're
Please.
hiring. I saw an article. Are they? Are
they
they?
they got that new season coming out. Maybe you should go get a job on it. If you know the new season is coming, the show is already filmed. I'm here to tell you.
No, I'm not gonna lie. Like one of the most aggravating comments was made to me recently. Um because yeah, no, I was talking about like the current screenwriting gig that I have.
Mm-hmm.
And so casually, the person was like, "You should look into TV writing." Oh, should I?
Should
Oh,
I?
oh, should I?
Should I really?
Yeah, no, I didn't go to school for that. I'm not. I'm not actively.
Like
It's
at
so
least I
easy.
don't know. I feel differently. Like for example, you guys know I have a BFA in acting, and so sometimes people when they meet me and they're talking to me, they're like, "Oh my gosh, Gaelyn, like you should do reality TV," and I'm like, "This feels rude." Like, but also I would kill on Big Brother, guys. I want to put that out there. I would be so good on
Hmm.
it, but no one would like me after I was done. But I would win. But I was like, okay, cool. But when people say like, oh, you should host reality TV, I feel like that's an acceptable suggestion because that is not technically in the wheelhouse of what my degree prepared me for. But
Right.
I can see why you would think I would be good at it. But like being like, oh, you should call Tyler Perry. Oh, you should try TV writing.
You don't think if it was any easier?
Baby, if it was that easy, I'd have had a TV show before I graduated. Okay.
That's a fact.
Out here, listen, y'all would have had to call me at my location in Hollywood. Okay. I'd have an assistant.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
No,
at home trying to beg my dad to do voiceovers for TikTok. Okay. Please.
trying to thank my dad.
He actually did do my voiceover for TikTok. I just posted the video before we started recording. My dad did my
Go
voiceover.
watch. Go support.
At G Smitty, two T's, four Y's. Y'all know the drill. But no, it's just like I feel like that's just always such a funny thing. And I think like in the strikes, particularly like the number of comments on videos that I've made or I've seen on other creators or tweets, like of people who are not in the industry trying to explain to people actively in it and actively impacted by the strikes are just hilarious. So like seeing this man who is a content creator and apparently he does have some acting credits, not
Hmm.
big ones, but does have some acting credits. It's like you would think because based on the credits that he has, he should be SAG. In which case, you should know better. you should do better.
Because if nothing else, you're right there, close to being part of it. So
Right. Like it's just like I don't know. I don't know. I think obviously for us, our position is very, very clear that we are big supporters of the WGA and SAG-AFTRA. We are union strong. Obviously, as you guys know, we have not been reviewing new TV and films. And we'll have conversations about if we're going to review some of the independent content that's coming out. I know A24 has a couple of movies coming out over the next few months that are independent, and we might talk about those, but like we have been very clear that for us, being in support as non-union folks who are hoping to enter means that we will not be using our professional joint platform nor our individual platforms to promote the work. But I don't know what that straw hat goofy man was doing other than literally being goofy. I don't know what else to tell you.
yeah, no, there's because like at the end of the day, why?
Like,
not every joke you think of has to be told.
I think that's the thing is people. I don't know. Like I do drunk Shakespeare, and like a bunch of the show every night is improv and like making up jokes. Every joke that comes to my head, I don't say, and I reuse ones that are good instead of thinking of new things. Because sometimes new things in the moment are not what you need to say. I will say I got off quite a few Montgomery, Alabama brawl jokes this past week, and I'm very proud of all of them. I'm very, very proud of them. And I played the song as my entrance song on my drunk night. And
You played the song?
Yep. Shout out Cuz who can swim. Shout out Unc with the chair.
No, that's crazy.
Like, everything doesn't need to be said. And I wish that people know that. I think that's also the thing that I realize happens when like I know who the Straw Hat Goofy Man is. Like, to be honest, I didn't know who he was until this content came out. But I'm like, what else do you do on your platform? Because, like, maybe if you were actually, like, doing the comedy that you said you did, you would know how to craft a joke that's funny and that people understood was a joke. All to y'all.
And maybe you wouldn't, double down before revealing. It was a skit, guys.
Like, bro, what? Because also, as sensitive as people are about this, if it was a skit, you should have written immediately. This is a skit.
Right. Where's the caption?
The caption, do both.
Creators be like
something.
Anything.
App creators be like just anything. But no, a goofball.
Yeah, no, and it's just crazy that Goofy Straw Hat would be willing to destroy his career.
Very much so.
Based off of a joke. Because, but the flip side of, being able to destroy your career in one post is a lot of people do make their career.
Yes.
Using social media.
Yes, they do.
That's how they launch their name, becoming a brand of themselves.
Becoming internet sensations.
Right.
That's how they would call it.
Because I know, like, I'm sure there's a study out there somewhere that supports everything I'm about to say.
Oh.
But I'm about to use some big journalist words right now.
Oh.
I feel like social media has become this new merit-based lottery where they post every day expecting to get a hit, to go viral, for that little sense of serotonin, for their little virality.
The dopamine.
Exactly. But, because like some people, they do, God bless the people who use social media for literally what it's supposed to, who have a simple life where they just post what they want to post because they thought of it in the moment.
That sounds such like a lovely existence that I don't have the luxury of understanding.
No curated feed, just vibes.
Y'all knew how much of my brain power was spent of me thinking of content ideas, scripting them out, planning when in my day I was going to film them. I think most people would explode.
And some people are just doing it like, hey, so I found this cute little rock and going viral.
I wish. Meanwhile, I'll be out here editing, putting on captions. 200 views. No. But no, I think back to your point about like using social media as a way to launch your career. I think there are like so many obvious examples, right? Like We look at Issa Rae and Quinta Brunson. Both of them
Mhm.
started on the internet. Issa obviously gave us Awkward Black Girl. Quinta Brunson gave us the He Got Money and all of those skits, but then they were able to turn those into television shows that are wonderful and successful, and we cannot talk about it
Mhm.
at this moment. But then I even think about, like, most recently, I feel like Matt Rife. Like, he was on Wildin' Out, and I'm not going to say that that didn't like do a boost for him, but like I don't
Mhm.
remember him from Wildin' Out. But then it was just like all of a sudden I'd be on TikTok and I'm like, who's this little funny white boy who be doing jokes on the For You page? She funny, and now he got a sold out world tour that's 2 years long, 3 years long, something crazy like that.
Sold out.
And I do have a ticket. I am one of the few, the proud, the ticket holders. Okay.
Mhm.
I'm definitely going to use this clip on my TikTok the day that I go see that man. I just want to
You
pull that.
have to.
But no, so it's like, I mean, he's been somebody who like has really been able to like parlay that into a very successful stand-up career by literally doing the thing that he's doing, which is stand-up. Like, I think there are so many ways to leverage it. I think it's hard because, especially as a girl, so many of the
Mhm.
influencers that I grew up watching are like makeup girlies and lifestyle girlies. And they've done really successful, amazing things in those spaces, but they're not the things that I was exactly interested in using social
Yeah.
media for. Like, I'm a huge Jackie Ina stan. I'm a big Monet McMichael stan. Jackie now has like her candles, which I love. I have 4 of them. I need more. Like, she has her
Mhm.
candle thing that she's done, but she also has had like some of the most successful makeup collaborations in the game. Monet McMichael, like, she's doing just everything. I mean, she's just really killing the game. But it's like they were really successful in that makeup space, whereas like Issa and Quinta obviously were able to move into television and film, but like you don't see the journey the same way. Like, it's kind of like they were making this like really great viral content and then they were gone and they popped up with TV shows. Versus,
Right.
I think on the makeup side, which I think like for me made it difficult to be like, I know I want to be making content on the internet. I know I want to build my fan base that way and connect with people and tell stories and entertain people, but I don't know like how me being an actor and a writer fits with this like social media. Like, I didn't really for a long time know how to do it. And so I
Mhm.
think I'm starting to figure it out. I have posted a few skits, not a lot. I did a Beyonce skit because somebody made a tweet that was like, Beyonce should be at Rose Bar when she came to DC. And I was like, Beyonce at a nightclub, please. As at doing a club appearance, she may attend a club, but you want her to be booked in a section as a club appearance girly? Please stop.
For more than 10 minutes
Let's be serious. Let us be
around cameras, no
an
NDAs.
influence. What would you say your current relationship with social media as it pertains to being an emerging creator is? But then you can also like expand that to be like, what is your relationship with like being a public figure or like becoming one?
Okay, so it's actually really funny because so to answer the first question, which is like my current relationship with like being an emerging creator,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard because as much as I want to just do stuff, you know, both school, the industry, and everything in between just tells you need a voice, you need a brand. So like I just keep getting hindered by, well, what, like, is this my market, I guess, or whatever. Yeah, so it basically social media kind of hinders the creations that I would make because I'm not allowing myself to go out prematurely.
What do you mean by that?
If something doesn't feel 100% me, I can't just put it out. Because like to put it in a sort of metaphor, I guess, like with stand-up comedy, because it's live,
Mm-hmm.
because like I don't have to post every joke that I tell. I know I could tell whatever joke I want, but
Right.
it's just for laughs. It's just for entertainment. Versus social media where it's like recorded, it's there, it will always be tied to me. Like I just have more of a worry of like, are people going to think this is me versus think this is funny? And so I just think about my brand before posting anything, and that stops me.
I feel like that to me sounds like you have not decided what your brand is.
Yeah.
That sounds less like, like when you don't know what your brand is, then you don't know if you can post something.
Hmm.
Versus like if you sit down and be like, I am Caleb. I am a comedian. I am a writer. I am a podcaster. Those are the mediums. And you go like, my brand. I was about to drag you on accident, but like if I was creating the brand, I'd be like black, awkward, funny. Loves God.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know what I'm saying? Like you have to like be, because I think that's the thing. Like you have to be very specific about what your brand is. Like I'm very, very like specific. I think for me, it's like TikTok is my favorite platform. That's where you
Yeah.
will most often find me. For me, I do a balance of educational content, funny content, and lifestyle. But I'm literally just like, I am your favorite, like, rising actor, writer, producer, content creator who also is just trying to figure out her 20s. And so for me, like, the brand, I feel like I give you very much like confidence, hot girl, little awkward, a little bit of social anxiety, very willing to be a little bit open. And mostly, I think the thing that's like the biggest part of the brand for me is trying to balance ambition with living in the moment and having fun. So I feel like a lot of my content kind of falls in those spaces. It's either like ambition, and you'll see a lot of me like working on my career or talking about things related to my career. And then having fun is like Hot Girl Summer Camp and me trying to teach myself to like go outside for things other than work. Like, I think that's why, like, for me, it's very easy to be like, oh, I can post this or oh, I won't. I think honestly, to me, if you can't figure out your brand, it's easier to say, am I okay with this living out there? And that can be like the guide. Because I think it's like, am I okay with this living out there for a long time? That works just as well of a check as being on your brand. I also think like neither of us are really in the position where we have such strong name recognition that a brand is a limit as much as it should be a building off place.
Because I will say, I have seriously thought about going into the Christian comedy business. Like,
You could.
I could numbers.
You
It's just,
is it, do you want to?
yeah. Do I want to? And also, am I ready for? Because you do anything with the Bible. There's gonna be somebody just.
But like, there's Christian comedy and there's clean comedy, and I think you don't have to go Christian as much as clean.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, I was fully thinking about like Christian, like taken from the Bible skits, all that. Because I'm not gonna. Oh,
That's what Yvonne did.
I was
She
just
read the
about to
book.
mention
She did that.
struck work, but
Oh yeah, no. I was thinking about like Yvonne did the same thing, did a similar thing with like Bible skits, and now she's Yvonne Orgy. So I mean, it's like I think you just have to be specific, but I think it's like you have to make that decision. Because I think we're really in an era now where you cannot. In theater, I think you still kind of can, but I think on screen, as a writer and as an actor, you can't afford to not have a social presence.
yeah.
And I think it at least has to be well thought out if it's not consistent. So I think that's kind of like where
I
we're
agree.
like, I think for me, it's like, I've just been trying to be very consistent because I think the good thing for me is like, I don't know. I feel like if you know me through socials and you know me in real life, I feel like they are very close to being the same. Like, I don't really feel like I have like a persona. I feel like I'm very like, if you meet me in person in real life, I talk like this, I act like this, I say these things. So for me, I feel like the separation for social media is more about like privacy, not about is this one brand. I think that's the thing that I would say is like building your brand as a creator is super, super important. I've also realized consistency is very, very important. Like I post every day on TikTok. I'm right now I post at least once. I'm trying to build up to the point where I post at least twice a day. Because there are people like one of my mutuals, shout out Simone Umba. She just followed me back on TikTok recently, like in the last couple of weeks. And she's the best mutual a girl could have. Okay. Because one thing, she gonna like your stuff, she gonna comment. But sis be on TikTok. Sis probably posts 20 videos a day. I mean, granted, a lot of her videos are like green screen talking about something, like so it's not like she's spending a lot of time editing, but I'm just like 20 videos a day is a lot.
Yeah. It
I don't
does.
have 20 videos of worth of things to say, and certainly not funny things. So I'm just like,
Certainly.
but I think like social media is a long term thing. I think it has the ability to build and launch a career for you. It also has the ability to snatch your career away, as we saw in the case of Mr. Hat Goofy Straw.
It's another thing too, because like as we do think about it like career wise
Mm-hmm.
and whatnot, like something scary for me, right, is because I'm so comedy based, it's like, but what about my digital footprint?
Right.
And digital footprint is why it's important to think long term with social media and our place in it. Because let's say I want to do a quick jokey joke, which like on the comedian side is fine. Oh yeah, go there. But as like a human being, as someone who would like a job, it might be, yeah, this is a huge red flag in your digital footprint. This is something that you do not want to put out there.
Yeah. And I think even beyond that, of like your work online can stop you from joining the guilds. Like if you
Mhm.
decided to post like promo content for movies right now, let's say you're an influencer right now who's a content creator and that's all you're doing. 10 years from now, if you decide you want to be an actor, you may not be able to because of you promoting movies back when you didn't think you wanted to be. I think
Right.
also like, creators with the guild, they remember things. People are petty. People have long memories. Because I feel like if I was like in SAG and I saw an influencer like on the red carpet after the strike and they were like asking questions or like doing journalism or something like around that field of they were doing something in the journalism space. I could not
Right.
find the words.
Hmm.
I would skip you. I'd be like, "Oh, weren't you the scabby scab? Gotta go."
Gotta go.
So I think it's definitely something to be. I think it's definitely something to consider and be aware of. I think I think it's honestly like you just have to figure out what it is you want to do and where you think your launching point is. Like I think to your point, like sure, every joke probably doesn't play the same when you're in person that it does
Right.
on screen and vice versa. But I think it's like, what I'm saying? Like you should definitely be posting these jokes because I think they're funny. And I think that that would be like a good way for you to like, I'm just always somebody like as an actor who does theater and therefore like you rarely like Drunk Shakespeare, I have videos from that. But it's
Hmm.
like as an actor on theater, you never get videos of yourself,
Yeah.
of your work to post. So when people do art forms where you have videos of yourself doing live work, I always feel like that is like something you should post because like people are
Immediately.
drawn to that like in person experience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People like that live energy.
That's how it gets to the, I actually want to show out, and then you get
Yeah.
more of a base.
So yeah. But I think it's definitely something for people to be cognizant of. If you are a content creator and you're listening to this podcast, like don't be a scab because you never know what plans God has for your life. And you don't want to be sitting here not being able to join the guilds because you were so pressed to promote these television shows. Now, obviously, if you had a contract that was signed before the strike, SAG is still
Right.
encouraging you to fulfill that contract. But don't pull nothing new out. Speaking of this, let's get into this real quick. So I got an email on Friday
Hmm.
from an app, and the app, I won't say what the name of the app is, but they're an app where you do movie reviews. It's kind of like Letterboxd, but think of it as like video
Yeah.
reviews. And it's like your friends and family are sharing the things, and that's how you find stuff, and you add it to your watch list. I'm paraphrasing because I've never been on the app. I only know what they said in the email to me. But they were like, "Oh, we'd love to have you like build a relationship with you and have you be a content creator and have you create 5 videos a month that we can use on TikTok to promote the app and features of the app as well as like do movie reviews." And in my head, the first thing I said was, "Do y'all know that there's a strike right now?"
Right.
And then the email got even crazier because they weren't even trying to pay monies. They were trying to do a commission. Well, I clarify. I'm still waiting on my clarification email to respond to say that that's what they were doing. But it is
Hmm.
commission based payment. So I don't get paid for these 5 videos. I only get paid if someone uses my code to access the app and adds my film to their watch list, like my review to their watch list. And I was like, have you guys lost your minds? Five
Right.
videos a month for nothing? Goofballs.
It's funny because this is another side note, but production group on Facebook, Somebody was like, "Yeah, we're looking for someone to like organize the camera equipment, yada yada." And it's for a fair exchange. You get to use the equipment down the line, and everyone in the comments was like, just say you don't want to pay people. You do matters.
I think for every emerging creator out there, I'm still a small creator, but at least I'm consistent. So I feel like I can give some advice. I feel like think about how you want to show up on the internet. Like one of my acting teachers had me like come up with content pillars. I was like, what do you like to talk about? And the thing that you like to talk about is probably the thing that you should build your social media presence around. Unless it's like, I mean, there are things that you probably like to talk about that you probably shouldn't do, but use discernment there. But look at your content pillars, figure out who you are. Like, don't try to be everybody else. Like, if you are not a bubbly person, then don't turn on your bubbly voice to make all your content. Like, no, like there are content creators who think about it, like Keith Lee with the food reviews. He's literally like, I had it, I'm gonna try it. Let's rate it 1 through 10. Y'all know I have social anxiety, and so I do not like to go outside. Like that's how he talk. Like you can do that too. Like all of that is helpful. But I would say like figure out what you like to talk about, build your content pillars around that, show up authentically as yourself, do some type of planning. Okay, you don't have to plan 30 days out if you don't want to, but like even plan your videos for the week. And that way you at least know like what you're doing. I've also found that having a daily schedule helps me to be consistent about posting because I know every day at this time I'm recording content. So I think that is helpful. I let ChatGPT build my content strategy this month. And so far I like it. So if you're like real, like struggling like really hard, let it do that. Tell it what you want to talk about and it'll build you a nice little content calendar. But I just feel like if you are creative, if you're an actor, a writer, a producer, a director, anybody, like I think more than anything, people like to see that folks in the entertainment industry are studied and not just want to be in it for the celebrity. So like use your profile as a way to talk about, if you want to be a DP, talk about lighting in some of your favorite movies after the strike, obviously. If you want to be a director, do director case studies on your Instagram. Like do use your social media as much as a way to entertain, but also as a way to prove that like you're knowledgeable. And I think like, if you think about it that way, it's like a mix of entertainment and education and like portfolio. I think it's a little bit easier when it's just like post anything.
The best content at the end of the day is the advice that everyone's been given since birth. Just be yourself. You know?
I thought you were saying Nike. Just do it.
No.
Better advice for social media is Nike. Just do it.
That's the better one. Just do it. But be yourself.
Be yourself and then do it.
You don't want to sell your soul and then just do it.
On that note, this has been another episode of the No Sleep Till Hollywood podcast. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at No Sleep Till Hollywood. You can follow me at G Smitty with 2 T's and 4 Y's on anything with an @ symbol. And you can catch me at Drunk Shakespeare, DC, most days of the week.
And you can follow me at Caleb's Subtitles. That should be on every platform. Watch me talk. And thank you for listening to another episode of season 2.
Period.
Of No Sleep Till Hollywood.
Yes. And until next time, good night, good morning, good afternoon, bonjour, bonsoir, adios. Bye, guys.
Don't forget your steak in the oven.
Huh?